Milwaukee's relevant. Pittsburgh and St. Louis winning their share of games. The Los Angeles Dodgers and San Diego Padres with Manny Machado are tied for first place. I like that. But right now, the story of the baseball season, this young baseball season thus far, has been the Boston Red Sox and how pathetic they have looked thus far. Thus far. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. I want to get into something more. Uh-oh. Molly Curran, my host. She walked up in there. What's up, girl? How are you doing?
I just want to say hi. You didn't
Listen,
run out of steam yet?
excuse me.
Hello,
that's
everybody.
right. You can't just walk into studio, Molly Curran, and
Why?
just talk to me.
It's
There's a
you.
national audience. They have to hear you.
Hello, everybody. How are we? This is your snack?
Excuse me. Why you got to tell on me? Why you got to tell my
Stephen A.
business?
Jax.
Listen, why you got
These
to
were like in my lunchbox in the third grade.
This is my favorite. Why you got to do this?
I saw you trying to get in shape.
Look, I am. That's why I'm cheating a little
Oh
bit. You
my
have to
gosh,
show the
we had
word I'm
DJ
cheating.
Metcalf on the show today, posting pictures in his abs, and you said you were about to take it seriously.
That's right, but that's tonight, not today, Molly.
And I
not
love
today.
how you have him hidden, ashamed. All right, I'm leaving you alone. I just
you're gonna walk
this
into
is
the.
where they do the Stephen A. Smith
This is where
show.
they do the Stephen A. Smith show. I got you now. Do you know they do another show in here? Did you ever hear of Jalen and Jacoby show?
I have. I've heard.
You ever heard of that show?
I've heard
I
of
mean,
it.
they do that show right in here in the
Yeah.
studio too, Molly.
Yeah, and
Did
you
know
both
that?
have the special talent of being able to talk all day.
Really?
Unbelievable.
Well, he would actually. You don't know that about me. You only know it from me for a couple of hours. With him, you would know it all day.
For a day. Never
That's
run out
right.
of steam.
That's right.
Bye, everybody.
You
Have
know
a great
what?
day.
I'm bringing you back on. We're gonna have a Mollywood segment up
I would
on the
love
show.
it. I want to do the relationship segment.
Really?
Yeah.
So can I be the love doctor? Will you do that?
Yeah, you can be.
All
the
right,
love
and you
doctor.
can
I'll
critique.
be the love police and help
and
everyone.
you can critique my advice.
I'd love it anytime.
Give me a high five on that.
All
We're
right,
gonna
I'll see you in the
you're gonna
morning.
critique my advice. The wonderful, lovely, incomparable Molly Curran interrupts my radio show, but she can do that. She can get away with doing that. Nobody else can pull that off. But she can do it. I will allow that. Anyway, I digress. For good reason, by the way, because I love Molly.
The Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and your car insurance. 888-SAY-ESPN. That is always the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Let's get right to it. By the way, big game tonight. Barclays Center, Brooklyn Nets hosting the Philadelphia 76ers, Game 3 of their first-round Eastern Conference first-round playoff series. I will be in attendance. Can't wait to see that one tonight. It's going to be interesting. I think they'll split the next two games. They go back to Philadelphia for Game 5, series tied 2-2. That's my personal opinion. But anyway, let's get right to it. Let's go to Scott. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A., how are you?
I'm all right. Talk to me.
You know, it's odd. It's not often, but I find myself almost, finding athletes, in this case in particular, Kevin Durant. I have empathy for the young man.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be honest with you. I think he's shown incredible reserve, incredible calm. I can't even imagine what it is like to be the focus of of an interview, a news group, a panel, whatever, and constantly being barraged with hypothetical after hypothetical, and keeping your cool throughout. I mean, for lack of better terms.
Well, one of the criticisms about him is that he hasn't kept his cool nearly enough. I don't find him to be as bad as people try to make him out to be. They want to call him sensitive as if it's a weakness or whatever. You just get annoyed with answering certain questions and what have you, and he usually answers them. And I find him to be one of the extremely decent individuals in sports. Can he complain a little bit too much at times? It appears. Does he appear to be a bit too sensitive at times? Over the wrong things, maybe. But listen, his mama, to his family and the people that he keeps in his inner circle. You got a bunch of core decent people, and it's not an accident because Kevin Durant is a really, really decent dude.
Yeah, but you have to understand also there's a very fine line between asking a question and badgering.
I agree.
When you're badgered, your back goes up, and who is asking him to apologize? I mean, obviously on a much grander scale, this gentleman is a W-2 employee. No one's holding a gun to an owner's head. Why should he be put in a position of apologizing and respectfully?
Well, wait a minute. He didn't apologize for anything, though. He didn't need to apologize. He just went into explaining basketball, and that's what I loved about it. Because, Scott, we might think we know, but unless you're on that court going up against that competition directly, nobody has more insight than you. And so as a result of that, his willingness to explain, what I loved about it is that I think more athletes should take the time to do what Kevin Durant did. I think they should take the time to enlighten, pundits and reporters and the viewing public. Look, this is what we're dealing with here. This is what we're facing on this basketball court. This might be a reason why I took this many shots. This might be a reason I'm getting called for these fouls and all of those kind of things. So to provide that nuance and talk about the game of basketball, I think some of the problems that I have, because I think that I'm an incredibly fair interviewer, no matter what I feel and how I explain and present and portray myself in giving commentary. If you notice anything about me, Scott, I'm entirely different when it comes to the interview. Because with the interview, I only focus on asking the questions that I believe people want to know and getting an answer to those questions as opposed to actually judging the answer. You see what I'm saying?
Difference is the huge difference between yourself and so many of your colleagues is that so many of your colleagues ask a question with the mindset of what the response should be. Mm-hmm. And if the response differs from what the poser thought or thinks the answer should be, mm-hmm. you are on the, quote, spit list forever, and they are going to castigate you and criticize you because you did not answer the way they wanted you to answer.
While me, I don't give a damn what the answer is as long as it's an honest and authentic answer relevant to the question. That's all I care about, and then we judge accordingly. But I have no problem. I don't look for a particular answer. So you're absolutely right about that, Scott.
Way too many questions are asked with
I got you.
A predetermined answer in mind.
Good point. Appreciate the call, Scott. Please continue to listen to the show. Please continue to call in. Thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate that. Let's go to Dave. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'm really a big Kevin Durant fan. If Kevin Durant got into his little childish game with Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams would be scoring like 60 points. So I think he's conscious of that. I think Lou Williams and that other young man, I just now seen him play this year, like the first two games, that 6'10" guy.
Okay.
Those guys are playing some great ball. Mr. Smith, I respect you, that's all. But Kevin Durant, to me, is trying to really be the Bill Russell of this NBA because this NBA is not like the 70s, 80s.
Well, just tell me, what do you mean the Bill Russell? Explain.
I think he's really starting to mature. He came out of Texas the first, like in 1 year, mm-hmm. and I think Kevin at this point is very mature, and I think Kevin Durant is also the best player in the NBA.
Well, let's say this though. Kevin Durant, here's where I would disagree with you. Kevin Durant actually seemed a bit more composed in the earlier part of his career than he is now. It's almost like he got tired of internalizing and holding things in, so now he exhales more, and he comes across as complaining more. So I don't necessarily disagree with you, but what I'm saying is some people would look at how he has elected to act at times, and they will judge him negatively or accordingly because of that. They actually like the Kevin Durant that was in Oklahoma City in terms of his composure. My response to that is whatever it takes that enables you to be the best that you can be So long as you ain't hurting anybody else, go ahead and be that person.
Something real quick, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the kind of money these guys are making, like $300 million, ain't that like a corporation? Shouldn't they be respected like some of those, corporations?
No.
I
don't agree with you in that respect. Let's say, for example, if I were a Wall Street reporter, right? Let's say, for example, I was a reporter covering Wall Street. Like, for example, one of my favorite shows, obviously Power with Amari Hardwick and those boys for the Stars Network. I can't wait till it comes back on the air. It's one of my top 2 favorite shows. You know what my other favorite show is? Billions. With Paul Giamatti and those boys. It is a phenomenal show on Showtime every Sunday night, okay? Watch the show. You got certain people that are covering hedge funds. They're covering Wall Street, right? They're covering state attorney generals or the prosecutor's office and things of that nature. How you interview them and how you probe into their business is fair game because that's your beat. That's what you cover. If you're covering basketball, just because somebody is making $300 million or worth $500 million or more, like LeBron is, doesn't mean that you don't get to cover basketball. You still made it because you showed up on the court and put your gifts on display. And as a result, that's a component of who you are. So it's perfectly within somebody's right to watch them play basketball and judge them accordingly. It's not within somebody's right to talk about people's personal business. It's not within somebody's right because you play basketball or you're in the public eye to be talking about you and your wife and your mom and your family and all. I think that's beyond the pale. But as long as you stick to the business at hand and talk about what directly affects and impacts one's performance on the basketball court, there's no problem with that.
That's why I'm going to tell you that you always on top of your game, Mr. Smith. But Kevin Durant is a bad basketball player. I love his game.
Oh, he's a real deal.
I respect you,
He's a
Mr.
real deal.
Smith.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We'll come back with more of your phone calls in a minute before we start off hour number 2 with the great Mel Kiper Jr. So stick around. Don't touch that dial. Here I come. By the way, if you missed my opening segment, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast, brought to you by the Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% on grocery stores, and 1% on all other purchases. Hey! What's in your wallet?
Your radio, your computer,